Alright, so this is Toge Southwest. Yeah, it's TogeSouthwest.com if you want to see the old episodes. This is season 2 in episode number 14. Date is 08 of the month of May 2020 or 5/8/25, whatever. So who am I? I am the Wandering Raven. I'm found on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok as well, because that's where I post a lot of my related stuff too. I'm born and raised here in Las Vegas, cancer survivor. I drift, I hack, I play video games. That's a little bit about me. And anything more, it's like she, her, that other stuff. That's if you wanted to know that. Um, we're just focusing this mainly on as a drift car thing. Those who don't know, back in 2019, my last event, actually had a beautiful night. I had so much seat time until I blew up the motor. It actually grenaded from the inside, so and yeah, so much needed seat time happened that night. I actually shredded all the tires in time, but it was like the night of the greats. Freaking Las Vegas is a grasshopper apocalypse. And then 2 days later, after my mom had actually seen the video I'd taken as well, seeing how much happiness I had, and we were on good terms at the time. And she just suddenly, just one morning, passed away. And it was really hard for me to move forward with that. It's been so hard to really work on the car, and because it's hard to look back and see those times like that. You know, like one day you're drifting, the next days later, even though you had the best time of your life, all of a sudden you're totally dragged down because you have someone close to you just suddenly no longer there with you anymore. Um, so I started this Toge Southwest as a year ago. That's why it's like we're on season 2. Season 1 was more of help bringing me back into the world. I've been between those 2 years, it's actually changed my confidence level. I'm getting back into the game. I'm back into fixing my car again. I'm actually getting it working and running. Um, I'm actually enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying driving my old car again. I'm enjoying going out to car clubs again. Enjoying going out to the drift track again. And yeah, that's the whole. That was basically that's what this is all about. It's about not just me vlogging about drift or drift events, but I'm also working towards building a community around this where it's not just bringing in the news, what's the new events happening around, and it's not just about drifting because toge means mountain pass. Mountain pass is like street racing in a way, but it's meant for it's all began in the Japan area. So we're taking that on because another thing you probably don't know is, or if you did know, it's also I did write a book. That book is actually located on VigTackware.com. So, but back in 2010, when I moved up to Oregon to change my life, everything was great and awesome. I loved it up there. I was introduced to a thing called Toge North, um, and I was hooked in the drifting, hooked into Toge, mountain passes and stuff like that. It was a beautiful time. Ever since then, I've been drifting cars, and since 2010, drifting cars, doing initial D stuff. That's what I'm trying to go at. If you don't know what drifting is, Initial D, the cartoon, anime, or Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. that's another reference. Let's see. So yeah. So currently, this is mostly a vlog at the moment until things really change up. I am always open to expanding all the time. I try to explain it as I can. I am also open to sponsorships for this as well. Um, Hopefully, the more car meets I go to, the more drifting once I can actually get back to drifting again and shredding tires. I was planning on setting this up as like my little table. Start maybe selling my t-shirts on that too as well. That's try to get the name out there as soon as I can start doing that. So there'll be more things to go forward on, and maybe in the future if I can just get back in seat again. I always dreamed about going full like Formula drift status. That's like my ultimate dream, and that takes a lot and a lot of sponsorships and stuff like that. So that is a lot of the goals. So hopefully before this year is over with, the car is running perfectly to a point I love that I can rely on it. And I have so many tires. I can get new tires for new rims that needs to be cleaned up because they've been sitting for over 5 years, and tires to fit on, and then I can work on basically start advertising when I'm at the event. That's the goals. That's the cool stuff about it. So let's get to the vlog update. All right, so those who don't know, it's a 1987 200 SX SCV6 was a V6. An S12 Sylvia S12, or in some areas in the world, it's called a Gazelle S12. So, the only updates I have is nothing really, because I had to order parts and they were taking forever to get here. So I just ordered a new oil return line, because the current oil return line, as I explained in my last episode, was really bad and crumbling, and it was causing a huge leak everywhere. So, but I have that going. Still working on gauges. I am also researching more on seeing if I can just take my Raspberry Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi 3. Maybe converting that into a dash setup where it just plugs potentially right into my ECU, and display just all the clusters and stuff like that, like the RPMs and everything. I mean, that'll take some hacking to do. I would have to try to figure out how to emulate x86 processes, because I know I can emulate Nistune on Linux. I've done it. But doing this as an ARM64 might actually be a hard one, because I don't know. I'm not sure Slackware actually built in any type of emulation for something like that, but if they did, that'll actually be really helpful. I just more research I gotta do. But yeah, not really much of updates. This weekend will be updates because I'll be installing the line. I'll be testing the line. I'll be testing the RPM gauge. So, and then I just have to wait for the other gauges to come in so I can wire them in. Um, Unless I figure out how to do the RPM, then I'd rather spend the money doing that. Because if I can do this, I can definitely hook this all up inside the car. Might actually be able to control the audio as well, which would be a huge plus. That would be awesome. Kind of upgrading the car in a way from the 80s to more modern ways. Be really I do have a lot of cleaning. There is a. I've been also researching on the anime style painting, where somebody's actually taking black marker, making like outlines of the car, and actually taking shaker can colors and try to match the colors and what they have and try to make it more anime look. I think that's actually a really cool look that the car might actually go for. Um, Kind of crude in a way, but I think I like doing it that way. At one point, I was thinking about doing like one fender or something full of stickers and clear coating it, but I think if I do the marker slash shaker can thing, might actually work. That's some plans, but that's pretty much what two things we're going to be doing: the hose for the oil return line, and we're testing out the gate. So I'll definitely have those videos up on YouTube over the weekend, and then I'll do like a compilation. And then episode 13, I meant 15. Sorry, I was thinking 13 last week, so sorry. In episode 15, I'll have more of an update, so that'll be actually a good update. So, alright. So, didn't want to leave this one off on. Oops. Go back. So, I didn't want to leave this one uninformative in any way, so I'm going to start this off with a. In the past, I did a. Let me pull up the video real quick, because this will actually help out what I'm talking about. It asks these questions so many times randomly on my YouTube. VG30, carb. I have. This is probably the best one to list because it's gotten over 20,000 views. And over. And we'll go full screen on this one. This has gotten over 20,000 views, and I've had almost like a lot of comments. Oh, this setup was so easy. This is the same car, old motor. This was the V6 called the VG30. So it is running a Poly 350 CFM. At the time, those are called Rust Cam. He doesn't make them anymore. Had to do something with those air things there, but battery. I tried to do a walk around. I did a special fuel pressure regulator that regulates from there to do the carb work. So I had a better chance with a different one. Got from Tomai, but let's see. Yeah, you're probably not going to hear all that sound, so let's see. Alright, so same car. But the motor itself, that was a carb conversion. Let's see. We're gonna start off the most popular one called DUI. We'll start Google searching here. What we'll do is VG30 DUI distributor. There it goes. Yeah, you can actually buy their jegs now, which is kind of cool. But I've actually, mine was pretty much like one of their first ones that they were selling. So actually, I'd end up sending it back at one point. This is located at Performance Distributors, but as you've seen in the last video, not last video, but the last search results, also jegs. Cool. I'll definitely have this in the YouTube videos description so people can reference that. The next thing is VG30 PPI intake. I actually like using DuckDuckGo more than anything else. But let's see here, Pathfinder. That's EFI. This one's hard to find because you have to actually find this intake manifold, the lower intake manifold. And let's see, start with eBay. Yeah, we're just gonna go like VG30I intake. Technically it's an I. No, it's the null block Chevy. These are hard to find. Maybe like an 86, maybe. I know it's like an old one. 86 intake. Intake manifold. Intake manifold. Oh man, I can't seem to find this one. They're not easy to find. VG30I intake manifold. The images, there it is. Oh, this is good. Alright, so number one, let's look at this one. This one has been cleaned up. This is normally a TPI, which is like a, in a way it's both EFI, but it's also kind of carbureted, but it's not carbureted. But this is a good template because now we have this right here. This one is the carbureted converted. Basically, what they've done is they took a conversion kit here. I don't know what they've actually used. In many cases, it kind of looks like they've machined it. I think they've used something like this. Anyway, can't really tell. Because it's like some type of adapter plate. You would actually have to mess around. I don't think the person does it anymore. He's actually gotten dark on forums itself, so I'm tired of the system. But if you can actually find stuff like this online, experimental engineering, that's the guy. Yeah, he's been doing it for a long while. But that's the intake from the Pathfinder. Yeah, from the Pathfinder. Mid 80s Pathfinder is the easiest one to find. You would have to technically figure out your own plate to go there, unless you can get a hold of experimental engineering if they ever come back. Other than that, you just have to basically figure out how to match that with this intake. I mean, technically, I think they might just machine this open. And they adapt like maybe a Ford plate or something on top. They probably like machine this to match that hole. It's hard to really tell. I just know that is really open compared to this. They probably do match that whole hole, but I can't confirm nor deny on that one. They're really hard to find. You have to basically modify it yourself, unless you can find it online, or if you have want to offer me a giant deal for it all. I have the full swap, but I've been planning on basically either putting in my own 280Z that I have out there just to piss people off because V6, yeah, V6 versus inline six, and I do have the whole carb setup. But that is the intake. So what's the next? We got the distributor covered. We got the intake from a Pathfinder, mid 80s Pathfinder that needs to be modified. These come with wires, so that's that. Let's go. Let's take EFI fuel pump to carb regular. Aeromotive, that's the one I have. Pretty much something like this, but full stage carburetor. But they do make something similar. So let's see if I can find the one I have, which is here. I think we wanted carburetor, right? Yeah, we do. Let's see. I think it was this one here, but I don't. It wasn't that expensive. Actually, things has gotten a lot expensive now than it was, but this looks exactly like the one I had. 2-port return style. Yeah, yeah, because one has to return. The carb comes in. So yeah, this has to be the return one. So yeah, this is the same one I had. Okay, so we'll leave that open because that's more what they had. Okay. Alright, so that's the fuel pump. That's basically you're using your EFI fuel pump. You use the regulator to calm it down. They actually work great with the stock. No, I had a Wolbro 255 in there at the time. So yeah, it worked great for holding it back. I never had any problems with that. The fuel pressure regulator. You definitely need that for the carb. Of course, you got the filter to sit on top because that adapter was meant for a Holly. So the best thing you can do for a VG30 is a 350 CFM, and it's still a little too much for it actually. If you calculate this for the whole cubic inch, you can do the whole numbers from the engine itself to how much the carburetor should need. Nobody actually makes anything lower. That's like a 2-barrel would fit. Another way would be instead of doing this, we just do velocity stacks. But I didn't do that, so I just used that with a Holly 350 CFM. And so let's see. Go Google Holly 350 CFM. This is what I use. Direct from Holly. Looks just like. And yes, I did paid for that at the time. That was not a cheap carb. Because that that's the one. That's the same part number and everything. It's really good. It's snappy. It's quick. I did pick up their jets, but I also did a Percy Adjust the jets. I think they still have it here. Oh yeah, still is. Cool. It's expensive now. It used to be like 30, 40 bucks. This is really good because it actually adjusts the jets for you on the outside and you don't have to keep ripping it off, changing the jets out, which is really cool. It's very useful. What else did I use? That's basically it. The wiring, actually, believe it or not, I did no changes. I just plugged it directly into to the distributor. They don't have the actual thing, but yeah, the distributor is both a distributor and a coil pack on the top. Basically, the coil pack is actually really good, and it's actually a modified version of Spitfire MSD. It's technically like one of these in a way. Shopping. Which one was it? There was one that was like a distributor with a coil pack on it. With coil pack. I don't know. That's really hard to find now. But it's similar to one of the special kind of MSDs. With coil pack on with igniter. Yeah, there's that. That's the same exact as okay, so that's an HEI coil, but it's similar to that. Technically, if you need a quick replacement, this would do it. But according to them, they have a modified version of that that actually gives it more power, but it requires more power. So yeah, just when you run this, make sure you're definitely have a new battery ready. Go with it, and no freaking body harness, like dra draining the power or parasitic drains or anything like that. So, um, so let's see. Unless he revived it recently, but I don't think so. Experimental engineering. That's almost no engineering. This is basically a Facebook group. Yeah. But the last time he posted something was like 2015. I hope he's okay. Like somebody sniped that domain. Yeah, I think he's gone. But I don't know if he's probably still around. But probably like a lot of the old timers like that, they disconnect from all these social media stuff. That's technically it. That's pretty much my whole thing. Because we got the carb, we got the intake, we got distributor, got that was just some random junk, but I do have the Aeromotive one that I shown that actually worked better than that. Don't think oh I did well yeah, that's different modifications. So with that, let's go Russ G31 cam ears. I think he doesn't do these anymore though. 2014. Yeah, I don't think so. But here's one last thing. There's I get a lot of questions between the VG30 and VG33. 30. All right, so right there. We're just gonna mess with AI. AI is gonna tell you the whole thing right here. VG30 and 33 are both V6 engines, but they have significant differences, primarily the bore size, of course, and the crank snout diameter. But you can take each head from the VG33 and put it on the VG30, and it bolts right up. Displacement is definitely a difference. The crank is bigger. We could still use the crank pulley in a fit. You do have to modify the oil pickup for it to work on the S12 version of the VG30s, but they work great on the Z31s or anything that's rear sump. The S12s actually had the front sump. Let's see. And what I always wanted to do was VG34 build. So, this is what I've always wanted to do was a VG34 build, which was basically you take the motor, you get it poured out to the point where you could fit 245 pistons inside, and given it like a really high compression, I think I get like 11 to 1. Yep, there it is right there. Nissan Frontier, take the VG33 and bore it out and install the VH. Oh, not okay. VH45 from the Q45. Infinity Q45 motors. And it does get you the 10 to 1. Okay, I was thinking 11 for some reason, but it's 10 to 1. And it actually puts it at 3.4 liters of displacement. Somebody made a turbo out of one. That's cool. High pressure. That's what I always wanted to do one of those. And if you throw the whole carb setup on it, I think that would have been really cool to do. I think that would have gave me more power going sideways, especially if I could have gotten the front knuckles modded, to where I get more angle. I think that would have. I think that would have been. I think it would have lasted really good. Cool. So I'll have this as a part list. Now we know what this is, how I've done it. I can always relate this video from moving forward. And these wheels always look great with this car. And yeah, that's it. The VG30. This one is proof that I had the VG30 with the VG33 heads. And it worked great. No problems at all. Let's go one more time. Let's see how clean that was. So it actually opened up so much room around the motor. So great. Let's see. Somebody's actually made their own adapter plate for the carb. Not bad, huh? There's my whole ride around when I had it back in 8 years ago. Another ride along. This looks like somebody else did it here. Yeah, I did a lot of uploading in the back of the thing. I did this 9 years ago. Uh, yeah, well, that's all the VG30 stuff there. So yeah, I'll definitely list this on the YouTube version when I have it uploaded for my episode 14. I'll include those part lists that we did. So, and yeah, any questions, comments? Anybody has any questions on the VG30, 33s? Yeah, hear this later on my YouTube side. Go ahead and post in the video here. would be much easier. I'll try to market this out to be more overwhelming than the ones that I currently have millions of views on. Anyway, alright, so we are done. So next, closing. So in closing, questions, comments, concerns, and list them. Give it a few minutes and call it a night. Take a shower and stuff like that. Alright, no questions, no questions, nowhere, not even on the D-Live side. In that case, this one was informative, and I hope we, somebody learned something with it. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Like I said, I still have the whole setup still. I might actually use it on my 280Z or 280ZX. I'm still tempted because if I build a nice VG34 and I put one in, I can use the rear sump. I can definitely carve it up, and it should be a beast of a little car. Especially since I know my VG30s. And that's another thing too. Recommended is some type of rev limiter for it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. This Togi Southwest will be uploaded onto the website and togisouthwest.com. If you want to see my book, it's on biggesthackwear.com. And if you actually sub to this channel and join my Discord, you can have a free copy of the book. I don't care. Especially any future books too that I'm writing. I am writing a part 2. Because my first one is about my experiences. Part 2 is going to be more the blueprint and the spider webbing of the whole abuse that I've been through. So yeah, look out for that. That's coming. And you'll actually can get a little snippets and everything on my blogging site of biggesthackwear.com. But I am working to push myself away from all that old past history. So tomorrow night will be tomorrow night will be my second podcast called Biggest Hackware. We're hacking like a sub genius. We're using my Slackware Linux. We're learning how to use it. We're gonna ask AI to do stuff for us. So yeah, we're gonna use AI with it and see how badly we can screw everything up. Anyways, have a good night. I will catch you later. Bye.